Yes, you can still buy a new construction home under $350,000 in Houston, but if you shop the wrong way, you could spend countless hours in the wrong location, or you could even get into a bad deal, or you could lock into a deal that looks good, but it ends up being too high in monthly payments. We don't want that. We don't want you to be stretched too thin. We don't want you to be house poor. So I'm going to be breaking down where the under $350,000 homes actually exist, what you can get for your money, and the exact questions to ask when you go to build your home. This is all to avoid pitfalls. We don't want you to have pitfalls or get boxed in by incentives that you don't quite understand, timelines that are urgent based on the builder's build requirements, or even surprise costs. We don't want anything to be a surprise to you. So in that case, I'll be mapping out for you locations of new construction communities that have great deals and actual homes that are pretty significantly below 350 in case that's what you're looking for. I'm going to explain the real monthly drivers for payments like taxes, insurance, HOA, and give you a step-by-step guide into how to compare different communities. And at the end, I'll tell you the fastest way to narrow your search to 2 communities without guessing. This is especially good if you're looking to relocate here to Houston. Hi, I'm Brittany Enns, your Houston real estate agent. And my job is to help you make strong decisions for yourself. If you're relocating, if you're buying your first home, or you're just trying to keep your payments under a certain amount, this video is gonna hopefully save you some time. So chances are you've been doing a little bit at least of your own search, and if you've typed in something like homes under $350,000 in Houston, you're usually mixing together probably a few different markets. Market A would be something like Houston pockets in the city. So this is like smaller communities, less yard space, less home footprint, and oftentimes limited inventory because you're in the middle of the city and there's not as much new construction available. Or Market B, you can still be inside a normal commute and find entry-level base prices, but you really need to be smart about taxes and insurance. Make sure you know about those things ahead of time because they will likely factor into your monthly payment. Market C, we call these edge markets. We're talking about the suburbs and further out. These are where the majority of these new construction communities are being built, in the suburbs, because there's more land out there. So it basically equals more space, newer master planned communities, more inventory usually, but this often comes with a longer commute time. Here's the thing. Most people can find the house. Most people don't have a problem finding a home that they love. It's making sure it makes sense with everything factored in. Monthly payment, homeowner's insurance, taxes, if there's an HOA, commuting time and cost. All right, we're going to talk about location clusters. Where can you find these homes under $350,000? They are out there, they exist, and fortunately for us, we have multiple areas to look, not just the north side, not just the west side or the east side, and not just the south side, which just gives you more options to choose from. In case you're new to searching in Houston, or you haven't moved here yet, or you're relocating, whatever the case may be, there are certain pockets of Houston that offer a different style, a different variety of home. So the first cluster, we're talking about inner Houston, where you have a lot of patio homes, townhome style, and really this is just to minimize footprint. There's not as much residential new construction space to work with, and so they really make these communities fit within the limited land that's available. There are definitely fewer community amenities, so a lot of these kind of communities, they have the dog parks, they have a few trails, but some are missing pools or what take up much larger space in communities like that are in the suburbs, for example. These homes usually move pretty fast. So the people that are looking in these areas, they're looking to make a move, they're making quick decisions. So it really limits the amount of inventory that's available. If this is your style of home, you're probably looking to be close to downtown or the medical center. And you are going to be a person that really factors in location more than space. The other thing, especially for townhomes, any condos, you want to make sure to find out, do you own the land underneath, or do you own the four walls inside of where you're living? The next cluster is on the north side and the northwest and the northeast. So these are going to be more traditional style single family homes, 3 to 4 bedrooms, entry level homes under 350. And these are more standard finishes, builder grade packages, and then ultimately fewer upgrades. This opportunity here on the north side is best for those that are coming into the market as new buyers, or who want a single family home under a certain amount without going too far out of your price point. Things here that you want to watch out for though is school district zoning, if there's any floodplains or drainage systems, and how far away the main freeways are around where you're looking up there. A lot of times on the northwest side, especially near Hockley and some of the areas that are really getting developed, more Magnolia, kind of over there on the northwest side, you usually do get a bigger amount of square footage for the money out there, larger lots, and more inventory. You know, so much is new out there. It's getting developed at a very rapid pace. So there are a lot of cropped up communities coming up there on the northwest. This is really ideal for hybrid workers. Maybe you work from home, or maybe you prioritize your home office. But if you do commute, watch out for commute times. You're a little bit further out from the city, so if you need to go in, make sure that you're good with the commute time. I always recommend going to the community, going to work, and seeing how long it takes at different times of the day, just so that you're confident about the time and you know ahead of time how long it's going to take at different times. And it's just something to make sure you're good with ahead of time before you sign any contracts. Because there's so many new developments on the northwest side, make sure you're going to be good with construction for years to come. It's going to take a long time to build out all these communities. Just make sure you're good with it. And then if you do have to commute, make sure that you add up what it's going to cost in tolls. There's quite a few toll roads out here. If you take one, like 99, for example, make sure that you add up the cost and add up the cost monthly so that it just is something that you factor in, so that that's not a surprise to you when it comes down to factoring in all of these little costs. Another thing to factor in is internet. So some of these new construction communities within the HOA payment, they actually offer internet services. So it could come to you through your yearly HOA fee, but sometimes if not, and you can shop around for internet, make sure that if you need internet, you get a good, reliable company, and make sure that you're in an area with consistently good internet. Next, we're going to talk about the west side near Katy. So here you're going to see a mixed variety of master planned communities and smaller builder neighborhoods too. A lot of communities in Katy offer high grade amenities, and that's one of the main reasons why people move out there. There are pools, there are tons of trails, there's a ton of stuff to do out there. Price points can still start under $350,000 depending on the collection of homes, depending on the neighborhood. And these really are best for people that really want the amenities and want that lifestyle out there. If you want the parks, if you want the trails, if you want stuff to do nearly every night, this is going to be one of the communities you're probably going to lean towards. Some things to watch out for near the Katy area. You have a lot of little neighborhoods throughout the Katy area that can vary greatly in tax rate. Some communities may have a cheaper monthly payment initially, but make sure you're factoring in everything we've been talking about: the taxes, insurance, HOA. Factor in it all. If you're looking at the east side near Crosby, maybe the Baytown area, this side of town can offer lower starting prices, newer homes with simpler upgrades, and a lot of people say the value is just hard to beat over there. Now, you might not get all of the upgrades that you want, but the price point there is really why people move over to the east side. So if you want a really strong, good entry-level base price, maybe your job is going to be closer to the east side and it just makes more sense to be on that side of town. And then also keep in mind what you plan to do on the weekends. If it's going to take you X amount of time to get to where you like to be, factor that in. Make sure you're okay with it. If you're on the east side and want to get to Galveston at a relatively quick time frame, then maybe the southeast side is somewhere that you'll want to be closer to. All right, now we're getting into the south side near Pearland and Manville areas. So you are going to find homes here under $350,000 in select collections. Just like with pretty much every side of Houston, you're going to have collections that stay within $350,000, and then you're going to have collections that offer more and more and more and more that get into the 500, 600, 700,000 and up price point. So as long as you're staying in those communities and in those sections that offer those prices under 350, then you're going to be good. The really awesome thing about Pearland and in the Manville area is they have had to develop this side of town so greatly that you get a lot of the suburbs with really close grocery stores, really close neighborhood amenities. So this area is really good for if you are wanting to go up 288, that's one of the main freeways, up to the downtown or up to the med center. It's a really pretty nice commute to get up there. Or maybe you just want a new home without needing or having to push into the $400,000 price point. So there are tons and tons of options, tons of builders out there that can offer you the lower price points without having to add so many upgrades, because there's nothing that is standard. Make sure on this side of town, really factor in your insurance costs here, your homeowner's insurance, because in certain pockets, in certain areas of the south side, insurance premiums can be higher in one area over the other. So if that's important to you and you don't want a huge increase in insurance costs, then make sure that location is something you factor in on the south side of Houston. Now that we have talked a bit about certain areas and the locations and sides of Houston, let's really get into what does $350,000 and under actually buy you in Houston. So the reality here is that square footage tends to be a little bit smaller in this price point. I'm talking about 1,200 square feet, 1,500 square feet, 1,800 square feet, possibly 2,000, give or take, square feet. You're running a little bit smaller than higher price points. Standard 3 to 4 bedrooms, 2-car garage. Sometimes if you're closer to the downtown medical center area, sometimes you see more 1-story or 1-car garage. And there's tons of availability with the builder grade finishes. So if you don't want everything being an upgrade, then you can go with the standard finishes. And lucky for us in new construction, most everything has a standard option. You do not, under any circumstance, have to get the upgraded package on any of that stuff if you don't want to. So one of the things to really boil down here is make sure you understand that one home on the south side of Houston can vary greatly in cost from the same home on the north side of Houston. There's lots of different factors that go into how builders price out their homes from one community to the other. And a lot of times it's taxes, it's location, it's establishment, how long and how many years has a community been developed. A lot of times this is factored into HOA costs, taxes, and insurance. So if your goal is really under $350,000, Make sure you are very clear, and a lender will help you with this too. Make sure you're very clear on your monthly payment, your closing costs, and your commute tolerance. These are all super important to making sure you're happy in the end. That's what it really boils down to, is by the end of all of this, by the time your house is ready, you need to be happy with your decision. Let's talk about incentives. This is a strong topic that buyers are very interested in because it has the power to help you in many different ways save on something, whether that is your closing costs, whether that is a direct lowering of an interest rate, or whether it significantly affects the price of the home that you're buying. So you're really going to see incentives everywhere. Pretty much every single builder and every single collection anywhere in Houston is offering some kind of incentive, whether that's to a specific inventory home that's completely done right now, or using their current builder lender, a preferred lender, or you have to close at a specific time frame. So here's how to compare all of this stuff without getting too caught up in all the marketing hoopla. You know, every builder has marketing. So let's really break down how lenders and how builders factor in all of their incentives. So you're going to want to ask yourself, what is the base price? Make sure you know that. What is the price of the home without any incentives or upgrades at all? Next, ask yourself, what is the price of the home with the upgrades that I want? What does it come out to be? And then what is the estimated monthly payment? With taxes, insurance, and HOA included. The lender can help you with this. They can itemize out every single line and tell you what each cost is up front. It could change by the time you get to closing with several months passing. Those numbers can change variably and slightly, but make sure you get an upfront cost of those factors. Identify what the incentives are doing and which one is most important to you. If you want the incentives that lower the price point, there's what's called flex cash that a lot of builders are doing. That can help you lower your sales price by $15,000, $20,000, maybe $30,000. Maybe you want a buy down interest rate that lowers it for a period of time. A lot of builders are doing that, where it lowers your interest rate to a certain degree the first year, and then it goes to something different the next, and then the next, and then the following year it's flat. Confirm if there's a lender requirement. You know, a lot of these builders will say these incentives only apply using our lender. And then some builders will grant you some incentives, a limited amount, using your own lender, your third-party lender that you bring in yourself. So just make sure, do the incentives completely go away with your own lender, or are some still offered? It's just limited. So if you want the full extent of what a builder is offering in terms of incentives, you're probably going to want to go with the builder's preferred lender. One of the huge things to watch out for with incentives right now is inventory incentives. And this has a lot to do with timeline. So here's an example. So a home is inventory. It's completely done. The builder built it from the ground up and put their own upgrades in it, and now the home is complete and it's going for a certain amount. That builder doesn't want to sit on the home anymore. They want to sell it. So they tend to offer the greatest incentives on these inventory homes. So what you'll need to know here is there a timeline for closing and getting the maximum amount of incentives on this particular inventory homes? Sometimes, you know, a builder will offer a certain amount of incentives, you know, $20K, $30K, for example, but you have to close by January 31st or something like that, or like by the end of 2025, for example. All right, to wrap up here, this is the exact process that I would recommend to move forward if you don't know exactly where you want to be yet. How do you narrow down all of these areas in Houston, all of these potential communities on the south side, the west side, the north side, all of these sections of Houston. It seems daunting, right? Well, that's one of my jobs here, is to help you narrow down. So how would I recommend you do that? So my first recommendation is narrow down to your top 2 commuting corridors. What do I mean by that? I'm not talking about narrow down to Houston. Houston is giant. It will take you an hour to go from one side of Houston to the other. I'm talking about, where do you find yourself driving the most? What side of Houston will you be on the most? Is that downtown? Is that closer to the medical center? Or the energy corridor near Katy, possibly? Or wherever you're gonna find your real life is from day to day. And then the other thing, pick your priority between location and size. What do I mean by this? Would you rather have a shorter drive in and a smaller home, or a bigger home and a longer drive? Most people try to get both and they end up a little bit frustrated. To make it easier, decide what you can control. You can control your payment, you can control your closing costs, and you can control your upgrades. Like I said earlier, you do not have to upgrade every single thing in your home. So if you want the lowest payment, you may sacrifice on upgrades. If you want the lowest closing cost imaginable, you may sacrifice a little bit on interest rate. If you want higher upgrades, you may sacrifice on payment. What is most important to you in this stage right now? So here's what I would do first. Tour inventory homes first. Not only are they completely done most of the time, but it gives you a really good way to see what's available, what upgrades are already in this home, what does it look like. These are the homes that usually are highest in incentives. The builder is giving the most incentives to these homes because they want to sell them. So for each community that you're narrowing down to, so at this point you have narrowed down to your top 2 corridors in Houston, the north side, the south side, the west side, whatever it is. Now compare communities that are in that side of town according to price range, taxes and HOA, insurance. You can get potential insurance quotes up front. I would do that because it gives you a good idea. It could change, but at least you have an idea, ballpark, of what are the insurance premiums here in this community. And then also consider what are must-haves for you. What are the must-haves without bumping up as an upgrade? What do you need that you could stay at the base standard level? If you want help, I can help you. If you want to narrow down, if you want to create like a short list of homes, of communities that are available right now in a certain area, I can help you with that. We can take into consideration commute time, taxes, HOA, and the things that you actually need in a home. There's so many 55 plus communities. There are townhome communities. There are communities that are really close in to downtown and the medical center. And then there are communities that have a ton of amenities that are quite a bit further out, just depending on what you're looking for. Subscribe if you're looking to relocate here to Houston, or you're planning to buy in 2026. I'll post more Houston breakdowns like this that potentially help you to avoid remorse, or to avoid pitfalls, or to avoid just not being knowledgeable enough. I'm here to help you throughout the whole process and to help you feel really, really good about the home that you're going to be purchasing. Stay tuned for the next video.